Georgie, I started the YouTube video. You need to get down here and stop filming.
I told you, I'm up in the ceiling. I'm trying to fix some shit.
You gotta get down here.
Fine, I'll be right for.
Jimmy, I still want the security deposit back.
Hey, sorry about dropping in on y'all like that. I was just up there raising the bar, no big deal. I'm glad that you could join me here. King Cream back at it again with the musics and the stuffs. I've been gone a minute. My channel had an issue with strikes and whatnot, but I'm back and I've decided to do things a little bit differently on my more in-depth reviews. I'm gonna be doing longer reviews on certain albums that I really like, or maybe even ones that are just like hyper bad. It'll probably be more ones that I like just because I want to promote music I enjoy and get you guys some new bands to check out. With that being said, the band I've picked today is called Sleepwaker, and we're going to be talking about their album, Don't Look at the Moon, aka Quit Looking at My Ass, Jimmy. I know I got cakes, but I don't need you sexifying me, okay? I'll get HR. Now, my first initial vibe I got from this band was very reminiscent of Wage War or New Currents. It has that very chaotic sound. It's very well produced. The breakdowns hit really, really hard. The vocals carry a lot of the music. There's a lot of emotion in the vocals. It feels like there's a big point to a lot of the songs. There's a three-part series in the song that's like its own story, and I think it's what the album's, you know, referring to and named after. And then the other songs still sound like Sleepwaker, and they encapsulate those emotions, but there's the three parts. It's its own story, and it has like a narrator, and it's describing the emotions of what I believe they're using the moon cycles to describe phases of this character's depression and their feelings. With that being said, let's get right into the groove. First track is actually the first single that the band put out off of this record. It's called Turnaround, and they put it out with a crunchy, tasty music video. Turnaround instantly hooks you in by opening with an audio clip of them tracking the song in the studio. Keeps you engaged because you know that since this intro riff is more than likely going to be the opening riff, but with more beef, you can really anticipate that fine, yummy Kobe. This song bangs, it slaps, in layman terms, it's pretty good. If you're into beefy 5-layer breakdowns, then this song is definitely for you. It features one of the nastiest oofs I've ever heard, as well as just an overall solid experience. Definitely a great song to open up the record with. Track numero dos is entitled Hell, in Fire El Diablo. It's just called Hell. Sorry about all that extra nonsense. I just watched Coco, so I thought I could speak Spanish now. Hell came to us as the second released song off of this album, which funny enough, it's actually the second song in the album, so that works out well. Hell strays away from the breakdown and chaos feel of the first track and heads towards more of a groove sound with a lot of quicker staccato guitar strums and effects in the background. The staccato feel is cool because as the song progresses, you can actually hear it happen more and more up until that final breakdown, where it transitions into a really passionate vocal buildup, into a drop with no vocals, so it leaves you with that last line to fester while the music becomes jarring. The intermittent effects on the guitar give it almost a siren effect, making you almost feel gloomy, giving even more impact to his final sentence. Definitely a great follow-up to Turnaround.
Anxiety, call out to me. The mask I'm living in just lies in pointless sin.
Track number 3 is actually the first part of the 3-song series in the album, if that makes any sense. It's part 2, Eclipse. I also believe that part 2 is first because it's the most calm of the 3, and also it's to elude what the whole thing's about, because part 1 is very just down and kind of just grim, and then the second one's more of like almost like a comfortable transition, letting you, it's like the calm before the storm actually hits. So I think it makes sense to like, it's how kind of like a movie when they show you the final scene first, it's like a foreshadowing in a way. I think it works out well, but I think the album could be listened in any order as long as the third track is last. It's a very interesting choice to have the part 2 first, making this 3-part song series and end up in a very particular order, but it works out well since it's a story. This song still has a lot of the good, heavy, groovy vibes, but in a slower pace, kind of the chill out track to give you a breather. And I think it's important to note that all 3 songs that have a numerical part sound a little out of place from the whole album, which is very special and shows how much effort went into this record. Track number 4, and just like my teeth, it's called Broken Teeth. This song is a great pit song. This would be like the best track to open up a set with. The song doesn't overdo the breakdowns, and you can tell that it was very thought out, and they didn't just throw breakdowns in because they ran out of stuff to do. They put it in because they wanted it to impact what he was saying. I think it's a big part as to why this band actually stands out. They have cool breakdowns, but none of them feel undeserving. They all feel like they're earned and they're put in the song smart and strategically.
We can't ignore or deny this. Prophecies unfolding before our eyes. What the fuck do we do to stop it? Nothing.
Which brings us to track number 5. This song is the Ooba-Dooba. This is the title track of the album, Don't Stare at the Moon. What did I say? Don't fucking look at it. Eyes up here. This is the first part in the 3-part series, and like I said, it's a little out of order, but I think you'll understand why if you look at the lyrics of the 3 songs. It makes sense. To me, this song is symbolic of the first phase in the storyteller's transformation emotionally. Don't Look at the Moon feels stressed and manic. You feel heavy with the riffs complementing the phrase, don't look at the moon. It sounds to me that this song is saying, look away from me, I'm suffering and spiraling, but it's my own burden and fight. Don't let me take you down with me. Hence the eclipse metaphor for the part 2 of this story. This song is the intro to sadness and isolation, while Eclipse is the feeling of actively living in the eclipse, being blocked. Fun stuff. Song number 6 is... Song number 6 is called Dream Eater. Fun little fact, it's actually the shortest song on the record, and you guessed it, it's because it's the interlude song. As its own listen, it does hit a nice feeling halfway through the song when the harsh vocals take over and the song starts to pick up. It evokes feeling, almost distraught, unfinished feelings like remorse in a song form. For the story, the song works. For a standalone listen, the song is a pass, which is fine because that's not its purpose. Moving forward! The 7th song is our 3rd and final part of the 3-part series in the album. It's called Don't Look at the Sun. For me, it was a perfect end to the 3-part series, and it was really fun to try and dissect what the song was about, especially with it being out of order. To me, it feels as though by the 3rd chapter, our storyteller has almost completely succumbed to the darkness. The life and the anguish felt in the phase of the eclipse have clearly taken a toll. Our narrator has completely given up by this point, lost to this metaphorical demon that now possesses him. The song does a great job of driving the feelings with the lyrics. When he accepts that his fate is seeped, the song bears down on you and you really feel the hopelessness. Throughout the song, it has these drawn out, longer transitional parts that to me almost give you the sense of not knowing if the song is ending, which is disorienting, and that feeling matches the narration really well. Very cool feeling to get, especially out of a metalcore act. Nothing against metalcore, but you know what I'm saying, there's like a sea of mediocrity out there, and we all know that.
The thing is breathing. I feel the weight on my chest. It's still singing into me. Calling back.
Lick those lips and get ready for tongues, baby, because that's the name of this next song. Track 8 is definitely the most Wage War sounding song on the record instrumentally. I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean the intro to the chorus and outro all heavily remind me of Wage War. But the song redeems itself very hard. Right when you start to put up those metalcore defense walls, they drop the fattest minute-long multi-layered breakdown event. It's a long breakdown that's essentially 3 separate breakdowns, but man, does it consistently drive the energy and hype of the song. I think what's really special about this band is that when they give you a breakdown and they deliver, it's in a nice hand-wrapped gift basket as opposed to like a throwaway McDonald's cheeseburger wrapper.
Give up, you fucking bigot! Suck! You!
Nearing the end of our journey, the song Relief comes to our humble doorsteps to tickle our ear pickles with its tasty licks and screamy bits. Now I know how convincing that last statement was, but hear me out. The song has very strong Crystal Lake vibes, which is really cool to hear because that band has a lot of unique ambient sounds, and I think that this band also captures a very nice ambient sense. With metalcore now, it's hard to stand out, and I think giving it an atmosphere outside of just the music and putting in effects that really encompass what the narrator is trying to say is like the next step of metalcore that that you can do to stand out. Not only does it have the nice ambient guitar sounds mixed with the rhythmic chugs and those dweely dwoos, this song also has a lot of fun rhythmic and tapping segments. This song is definitely a lot more fun for the guitar fans out there. On this song, vocally, not too much going on. Lyrics are still good and have a nice overall good message on a bleak situation. The different amount of styles they achieve in the record while still staying unique to themselves is very impressive and very refreshing. We've done it, we've reached it, we've climbed the mountain of metaphors, and we are now at the denouement of the record. The very last track of a record is very important to me. I think it's a place where a lot of people throw bonus tracks, which is fine, but I think the last song of your start to finish album should be just as good as your first song. It should leave the listener with a taste and wanting more. It shouldn't just be your throwaway song or we wanted to reach 10 songs. I don't think if you don't have a good 10th song to end with, you shouldn't end with that song. To me, Relief and Breathing are two of the weaker tracks on this album, but as where Relief at least rewards in the breakdown wants in a metalcore song, Breathing, it doesn't really deliver on that aspect. It starts off strong, but it starts to lull until a little over halfway, then it picks back up again. It definitely ends up leaving its mark redeemably, especially lyrically. I like the emotion presented for the middle act of this song. I just wish that it either kept up with this the whole time or ramped up to the outrage until a final breaking point happened to really send out the album. To me, I think the album could have benefited greatly if they put Don't Stare at the Moon as track 1, Dream Eater Interlude as track 5, followed immediately by Eclipse as track 6, then conclude the album with part 3, Don't Stare at the Sun. Story-wise, this would make it end cohesively and coherently. It ends on an overall better track to send the listener off with, and it's a full story arc.
You think I don't see you? My personal hell. You subjected so many to.
Other than a few little nitpicks here and there, like moving songs in different orders, I think this album is one of the best metalcore albums that we've had in a long time. At least for this type of metalcore. I'm not talking about, you know, Killswitch metalcore. I'm talking about this type of metal, breakdown metalcore. To get an album that's so cohesively put together story-wise and written with such intent, each song has parts that are just, you can remember from each track. I think lyrically it hits a lot of very relatable notes to a lot of people that just deal with sadness in general and struggles in their life. I think the song really reflects that, but while still being unique and different. I think the vocals are very strong in this record. Overall, I thought this record was great, and I would give it 8 Nickies out of 10. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or perhaps a comment if you're feeling talkative today. If you're new here, send your boys subscribe, and if you like this review, be sure to go into the description and check out Sleepwaker and the great music that they have to offer. Come back next week where I stay 24 hours in my childhood home. If I happen to show up at my old house and there's someone I do not like in my room, I shall skin them and return with their flesh. Goodbye for now, and goodbye.